Hey everyone, let's talk about one of the biggest hurdles for any creative team, splitting the rewards, right? It's that one thing that can sink a brilliant project before it even gets going. But what if there was a way, a much better way to handle it all? Let's dive in.
I mean, come on, have you ever argued over sweat equity? We've all been there. You pour your heart and soul, all those unpaid hours into a project, and then you hit that super awkward, sometimes really painful conversation about who actually gets what. It's a classic problem for a reason.
For decades, the way we've done this is with what I call the fix and fight model. You all get in a room, you take a wild guess at who's going to contribute what down the line, you fix a percentage split, like 50-50, and then almost every time you end up fighting about it later when reality, doesn't quite match the plan.
And when you put these two side by side, the difference is, well, it's night and day. The old way is totally rigid. It's based on pure speculation, which is a huge reason my creative partnerships fall apart. This new way, ho, is flexible, it's based on what actually happens, and it's designed to stop those arguments before they even have a chance to start.
So this new approach, it's called the dynamic pie model. And honestly, it's built on one simple but incredibly powerful principle.
This is it. This is the big idea right here. Your slice of the pie should always, always be a perfect mirror of what you've actually put at risk for the project. No more guesswork. It's just a fair, totally verifiable link between what you put in and what you get out. Simple as that.
Okay, so you're probably asking, what exactly counts as an at-risk contribution? Well, it's basically any resource you provide where you're not getting paid for it on the spot. We're talking about your unpaid time designing a logo, the cash you front to rent a studio, or even just letting the team use your laptop or your home office. It all counts.
So how does this all work in the real world? How does your time or your cash actually translate into a fair share of the pie? The model uses this really simple unit called slices to keep track of everything.
It's really just a simple four-step process. First, you log what you put in. Super easy. Second, the system converts that into these slices. Third, and this is the cool part, the pie chart showing who owns what adjusts in real time. And finally, once the project is making money or gets funded, the pie freezes, locking in everyone's final, totally fair percentages.
So let's walk through an example. Imagine an artist and a producer are starting a project together. They agree to use the dynamic pie. Right at the very beginning, before a single thing has been done, the pie is basically split right down the middle, 50-50. Okay, so the artist gets to work. They put in 20 hours on design, and they log that time as their at-risk contribution. This is that classic sweat equity we were talking about. Now, this is where the model gets really smart. It knows that your unpaid time is risky, right? You could be earning money somewhere else. To make up for that, non-cash stuff like time usually gets a 2x multiplier. It's a way of valuing the risk you're taking with your most valuable resource, your time.
And boom, right away, you see the dynamic part in action. Because the artist has made the only contribution so far, the pie instantly adjusts. Their share of the pie grows based on that work. It's a perfect real-time reflection of who's put in the effort.
But then, the producer steps up. They pull $400 out of their own pocket to rent a studio for a session, and they're not getting paid back right away. This is a pure cash contribution.
Now, for any new project, cash is king, right? It's scarce and it's critical, so it's considered even riskier than time. The model reflects that by giving cash a higher multiplier, usually around 4x. This just acknowledges how valuable and risky it is to put in your own hard-earned money. And just like that, the pie rebalances itself again. The producer's cash contribution is added in and their share grows. Now, you might notice the artist's percentage went down a little, but here's the key thing to understand. Their slice of the pie might be a smaller percentage, but the entire pie just got way more valuable because of that studio rental. So their slice is actually worth more, not less. It's always mathematically fair to everyone.
I mean, this just builds a much healthier foundation for working together. That old fix and fight model is just a static bet on the future, but the dynamic pie is an adaptive, living reflection of reality. You're replacing arguments with an objective formula, and that just fundamentally changes the vibe of your whole team for the better. And that really brings us to the best part, the real payoff. What do you get when you build your collaboration on a foundation of pure, verifiable fairness? Well, it's one word: freedom.
The benefits are just massive. When the rules are clear and fair for everybody, you build what's called algorithmic trust. You just trust the system.
And that creates psychological safety. You feel safe to take creative risks. It boosts everyone's motivation because every single bit of effort is seen and rewarded. And most importantly, it lets you stop worrying about who's doing what and focus all that energy on what actually matters, creating something incredible together.
At the end of the day, that's the whole promise of the dynamic pi model. It's a system that's literally designed to get those painful, distracting arguments out of the way so you can just get back to the work that you love.
So I'll leave you with this question. Just think about your next project. Imagine every single person on the team knowing with 100% certainty that every contribution they make will be valued fairly. What could you build? What amazing thing could you create if fairness wasn't something you argued about at the end, but was just built in from the very beginning?